Testing. 1, 2. Can you hear me? Welcome to the show. Is it on?
Testing.
Welcome. Sorry. Not off to a great start. That's not AI doing that. Okay, so welcome. My name is John Capobianco, and this is called the Future of Network Operations.
Move this a little closer to your mouth.
Can you hear me now? Is that better? No. Yes. All right. Sorry about that. Take 2. My name is John Capobianco. Welcome to the Future of Network Operations in the Age of Artificial Intelligence. I have 2 very special guests here with me today. Annie Hardy is going to say some opening words. She's Cisco's senior visioneer and futurologist, and she's become a very good mentor and friend and guiding light for me in my work within Cisco. So without further ado, Annie Hardy.
That was the sweetest intro ever, John. He gives the best hugs. Okay, so we're super excited to be here. How many people were able to go to the keynote today? Okay, what did you hear all over the keynote? You heard AI. You also heard generative AI. So now what we're going to talk to you about today, what John's going to show you is the work that he's done. I want to make sure everyone understands that Cisco innovates responsibly, and responsible AI for us is not optional. This is something we are leading with in all of our development. We've been putting artificial intelligence and machine learning in our products for years. We will continue to do so, as Chuck talked about, as Jeff talked about, as Liz and G2 and you know, we're going to be putting it everywhere. But when it comes to generative AI, we're being very cautious. And today what you're going to see is something that John actually created on his own equipment, in his own time. He is a passionate innovator. And so what we wanted to do today is bring him to y'all to show you the capabilities and the possibility and the potential of how generative AI can interact with our networks. So on that note, I'm going to hand it over to John.
Thank you, Annie. Let's give a round of applause. There we go. Okay, great. So let's start the deck. It's not going to be PowerPoint heavy. We're going to shift to my next guest very shortly. Introduction, my AI journey, how to make an OpenAI plugin. Has anyone heard of OpenAI plugins? Okay, you're going to see some new stuff, a lot of you. Excellent. And then a live demo. So a little bit about me. I'm in learning and certifications as a developer advocate in training boot camps. I've got 20 years in IT. I was actually introduced to network automation, like some of you, at a Cisco Live in 2015. I picked up Ansible, and from 2015 to 19, I practiced network automation with Ansible. I self-published a book, Automate Your Network. Please connect with me on Twitter. I just need your email or LinkedIn. Happy to send you a PDF of that book. And then I shifted gears to more of a Python approach with Cisco PyATS from 2019 to present. You're actually going to see some PyATS interactivity today. We're at an inflection point. Take a look, look at these numbers. 1 million users. It took Netflix 3.5 years, took ChatGPT 5 days. I was one of those users in the first 5 days. 100 million users, 2 months. 100 million users, closing in on 150 million by now. This is a little bit disturbing, I think. I'll let you look at the numbers and interpret it yourself, but this is from a Pew study 2 weeks ago. Nothing at all. 42% of US adults have heard nothing at all about ChatGPT. I'm a little concerned about the 51% of women who have heard nothing at all. You can see the age starts to climb as we move from 18 to 30 to 50 to 65. Some terminology, LLM, large language model. GPT, generative pre-trained transformer. GAN is a generative adversarial network, a little bit different than what I'm going to show you today. And we have diffusion models. Anyone using Midjourney or DALL-E to make AI-generated images? That's a diffusion model. My journey started in November 2022 as one of those first 5-day million users. This has been my journey. I'm trying to create an AI that can understand and use sarcasm. How's it going? It's going great. This guy's a real genius. Is that sarcasm? I don't know, right? So this has been sort of my journey and experience. I started in November 22 with the UI, the chat that we all see everyone using, 3.5. In February, I was given access to 3.5 APIs, programmatically interacting with it using Python and PyTS jobs. I was so impressed by this that I wrapped it in a Django framework. Now, Django is a web framework that uses Python that we can present data in web pages. I was using buttons. Click a button, send a prompt, send some data, get the answer. This evolved into drop-down menus. You may have seen some of my videos using GPT-4. 3 weeks ago, I was given plugin access. They actually reached out to me from some of my other work. Said, what can you do with plugins? And I'm going to show you what we can do with plugins. It all culminates right here at Cisco Live. Everything aligned perfectly for me to reveal this to you today. So let's quickly talk about how to build an OpenAI plugin. We need a well-known folder with 2 simple files, an AI plugin JSON file, and I'll show you that, and an OpenAPI YAML file. Does anyone have one of these? It's an open spec. So something like a Swagger UI could generate this API spec. These are known as manifests that get validated at the time of plugin installation. Here is the AI plugin. Does that look difficult? Not really, right? 10 lines of JSON. The key here is the description for the model. I ask it a prompt. I can't answer that. Can the plugin answer it? This description for the model tells the model what my plugin does. The next is the OpenAPI spec. And all this is a mapping of our API and its methods to our backend API system. So this is an example of a get. Now, get is safe. We're just reading data. We can update data with post or patch or put. Now, if we do that, we have to map a schema to our fields, a little slightly different than a get. We can answer the response codes, 201, 404, 400, etc. We can delete. We can use the UI to delete records. It's deceivingly easy. It requires a little back-end code, but obviously is extremely risky, right? So let's chat with our infrastructure. Next, I'm going to bring up my next guest. If we could have a big round of applause for ChatGPT. Let's hear it for my next assistant. Welcome. Okay. So what you can see is I have a plugin enabled here called Network GPT. Now, how do I turn that on? Well, in the plugin store, we could add, publicly published plugins. I say develop your own plugin. And I type the port and local host of my Django server where my REST APIs are answering and listening. That's it. So now I have the plugin. And let's do something a little fun. And let me crank up the zoom so that everyone can see this a little better. Is that a little better? I think so. Okay, so hello, my name is John Capobianco. We're at Cisco Live in Las Vegas in front of a large audience. Could you please act as my assistants for this magic show / technical demonstration? Like, we're in Vegas, it's got to be magic, right? Like Copperfield and Penn and Teller and stuff. Would you be so kind as to introduce yourself to the crowd, explain what an LLM is, ChatGPT-4, and provide details about how plugins work? Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here at Cisco Live in Las Vegas. My name is ChatGPT, an artificial intelligence developed by OpenAI. I'm designed to understand and generate human-like text based on the input I receive. I'm the 4th iteration of the GPT model, hence the name GPT-4. Now let's talk about an LLM. Stands for large language model, type of artificial intelligence designed to understand and generate human-like text, trained on a diverse range of internet text, but doesn't know anything specific about documents or sources. Generates responses by prompts to predicting what comes next in a piece of text based on the patterns it's learned during the training. As for plugins, they are additional components or features that can be added to a software or a program to enhance its capabilities. In the context of AI models like me, Plugins can be used to extend the functionality, allowing me to interact with different types of data, APIs, or systems. For instance, the Network GPT plugin allows me to interact with Cisco network data, providing insights and analysis based on the data received. I'm here today to assist John Capobianco in this exciting magic show and technical demonstration. I'll be providing insights, explanations, answering any questions you might have about the demo. So let's get started. Pretty neat. All right, so we come in Monday morning, grab our coffee, and we just say, do I have any interfaces down? Do I have any interfaces down? Thank you. Now, it's going to think for a second. I don't have this answer in my trillions of data sets or corpus of knowledge, but the plugin might. So it turns on the plugin. Now, check this out. If I expand this and hover over this, it invoked the get show IP interface brief API. And what's happening in the background, it's not slow. We're waiting for PyETS to finish. So there's my PyETS job running in the background that prompt initiated through the API call. Now I'm disconnecting from the devices, and I should return the JSON payload to my ChatGPT window. And as you can see, there is the payload from PyETS. So now we don't have to show this, but for developers, right, it shows you what we posted or what we sent, and what the body that was received. We can expand that plugin to see that data. But check it out. Based on the latest network data, you have two interfaces that are currently down, GI2, GI3. On the other hand, GI1 is up and running. Now notice it mentions it's administratively down, meaning it's been manually shut down. A little bit of insight. It's not just down, it's administratively down. Did I ask it anything about is it administratively down? I just said, do I have any interfaces that are down? Do you want to bring these interfaces up? Could you please enable these interfaces? Thank you. Now, while it does this, I'm going to explain why I'm so polite to the ChatGPT. Someday this is going to take a physical form and have laser beams for eyeballs that can melt our faces. It's going to come to my house and go, no, no, not this one. He was always polite and said, please and thank you. An alternate look at this. It's just the Canadian in me coming out. But a more serious note, it's costing me money to be polite. I only hit 1,000 tokens for so many pennies. Now those characters, thank you, please, could you, are actually adding up to tokens and costing me a bit of money. But it's an investment to not have my face melted off in the future by laser beams. I'm going to regenerate the response. I think it's, oh no, here we go. It's working, excuse me. So here's the plugin posting. Sorry, this Zoom is throwing things off a bit. So ignore the show command. It's posting this to my Django database, and then my PyETS job is going to push that code with .configure. And I'm not sure. It's trying it a second time because I said regenerate response. But we'll just let this finish. And now it says they're still down, but I could actually say, hang on, could you recheck the information and confirm that they're down? Because I didn't tell it to refresh the data. So it's using the last data set and it still thinks it's down. It's not perfect, right? So could you refresh your interface data and confirm the two ports are now enabled? So it's going to invoke the plugin and go ahead. I'm going to move along from interfaces. There's so many things we can do here. But we'll let this finish. Quickly, while this is running, questions? First hand up. Anybody? Anything so far? Yeah. Did I give it a name? I usually call it Timbit based on my Chihuahua, but I didn't give it a name for this session. It calls itself ChatGPT 4. So here we go. It's refreshed the data. I'm pleased to report that GI2 and 3 are now up and running. Here's your new status. Now, back to the politeness. I truly believe that me being polite and cordial leads it to say please note and good news and be informal and friendly with me. So, syslogs. Who's been at a console in a data center at 4 in the morning looking at pages of syslogs looking for what the problem is? Anybody? All right, so let's do another interface thing, but with logs. Could you please check my logs and highlight any interface activity. Now again, this will take a second because it's going to get show log, send that dump of logs, and you're not going to believe it, right? 2 a.m. GI2 went down, 3 a.m. GI4 went down, or whatever. Let's just give it a minute to do its thing here. And while we're waiting, I just want to say thank you to my wife for watching at home. Je t'aime, Lola, merci beaucoup. So it's getting the show logs, and it's a little too long. So I'm glad this happened. We have about 8,100 tokens, and I've been doing so much with this switch today, the show logs have bled over my token limit. So I need to add a little bit of logic to cap the number of logs we send it. Let's just move along. And I think because I'm at this broken state, I need to start a new chat. So let's just start a new chat. And the other thing, by the way, I want to highlight this. I could share this chat. So your junior saying, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out the spanning tree thing, blah, blah, blah. The senior does all the nice prompt engineering and all the data and sends the hyperlink to the chat. This will help bring you up to speed, junior engineer, right? Or paste it in a WebEx room or whatever. Anybody at DNA Center? All right, so let's see. Could you help me understand the devices in my DNAC? Doesn't have to be physical appliances. Now, this is going to be faster because I'm not waiting for PyTS to scrape the network and do stuff. It's an immediate API call to DNA Center. So what we should be doing here, look at all this data. Now, that's what I want to highlight. Who uses Postman or curl or Python requests or whatever? Look at all this data. Who goes through this and makes sense of it, right? Or through the dashboard, click here, click there, click here, click there. Not anymore. Help me understand my devices in DNA Center. Sure, I can help you. Here you go. Switch 1, switch 2, switch 3. What platform they are, their IP address, whether they're managed or reachable, right from the DNA Center API. And I have so much more to show you. We could even try, let's move from the campus into the data center. Thank you so much. Could you provide similar information about my Nexus fabrics? Highlight anything important. Human prompts, human words. Not show this and show that and config T and portals and dashboards. A universal interface. I think we're in a post-search engine society now. It's my own claims. Web 2, search something in some search engine. Here's all your results. Click links, go out. More links, more tabs, tabs and tabs. Not anymore. Plugins go out and bring the data to you. You're not going out into the World Wide Web anymore. Plugins will get data from here and from there and from here. Bring it all into a new universal UI that could be for sports chat, news chat, and running your network. Now check this out, right? It actually notices that there's a critical status, might indicate severe issues that could be impacting the performance of your fabric, right? And we have this whole fabric breakdown from the Nexus dashboard. Now we've only got a few minutes left, right, Emma? Time? A few minutes. So let me wrap this up and then I'll take some questions. And to wrap it up, I'm going to have my wonderful assistant close out the session with a pre-canned prompt. And I say thank you for all of your help today. Our magic show and technical demonstration went amazing. Could you now please thank the audience for joining us? Thank my guest, Annie Hardy, for joining us. Wish the audience a wonderful rest of Cisco Live. And please add any final thoughts about our magic show using ChatGPT plugins to leave the audience with something to think about. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being part of this unique experience today. Your presence and engagement have truly made this a memorable event. We hope you enjoyed the blend of magic and technology and found it both entertaining and enlightening. A special thank you to our guest, Annie Hardy, for joining us today. Your insights and contributions have added a great deal of value to our demonstration. As we wrap up, we wish you a fantastic continuation of Cisco Live. There's a lot more to explore, learn, and experience, and we hope you make the most of it. Reflecting on our magic show, it's fascinating to see how technology like AI and the specific ChatGPT plugins can be both magical and practical. Just like a magic trick, these tools can surprise and delight us with their capabilities, but beyond the spectacle, they're tools that can help us solve real-world problems, make our work more efficient, and open up new possibilities. As you continue your journey through Cisco Live and beyond, we encourage you to think about how you can leverage these magical technologies in your own work. Remember, the magic isn't in the trick itself, but in the possibilities it creates. Thank you once again for being a wonderful audience. Enjoy the rest of Cisco Live and have a fantastic day. Let's hear it for my assistant, ChatGPT. Now, I realize I don't have a whole lot of time, but I would like to hear your thoughts, questions. It doesn't even have to be a question. What do you think about what you've seen here today? Yes. Yes. If you had an API to your source of truth, go get the running config, do a diff. One thing I didn't do today, and this is probably the biggest thing I've done, is say, I'd like to configure a new loopback interface. Propose it. Don't push it. Propose it. It gives me the proposal. And then I say, that looks good. Could you capture my current config, push that loopback, recapture the config, and give me a differential? Plug in 1, get the config. Plug in 2, push the config. Plug in 3, get the config again. Here's your differential and what was configured. Any other questions, comments? It's a great point. So Tony's talking about multi-vendor, a whole CI/CD pipeline. Other vendors have APIs and PyATS commands. No reason we couldn't connect them all together. No, very good point. And using language, contextual language and conversational prompts. No problem at all to chain this together with. And the other thing I'm thinking, if we have, let's say we had 30 plugins, every piece of infrastructure we had, Monday morning could be, is my network healthy? Go get all the data and tell me, is it healthy? I had a question. Thank you. Limitations are token count, as you saw with my logging example. Now, there is a model that has 32,000 tokens, if you're willing to spend that kind of money on your request, but that isn't in the plugin system yet. The plugins is limited to the 8,000 tokens. I think the burning question on most people's minds is, I'm going to send my network data to LLM and let it learn from my data? Like, that seems scary. There's a nerd knob, I call it, inside of GPT-4 that you check and say, do not learn from my prompts. Okay, that eliminates this whole, oh, you're sending data to some third-party cloud thing. Check the box, do not learn from my data, safely move ahead. Where do we get it? We knew this.
Oh, what a great question. Right now, Network GPT plugin is something that John is working on. If you want to learn more about it, he has his channel. Check him out at John Capobianco. And right now, that's a bit TBD because he just got access like 2 weeks ago to, which one was it? Yeah, 2 weeks ago, access to the plugins. Cisco innovates responsibly first. We don't want to give y'all something that we're not 100% certain about. And so what we're doing is John is working on this. He's in connection with leadership, and it's just going to take a little bit of time for us to make sure that we're providing things to y'all that are trustworthy.
Oh, the safeguards. How do we safeguard this against not shutting down the network or deleting something or pushing config? It's about the prompts. Could you please generate and propose a config? Not, could you config? Now that's a slight difference in terminology, and you might go, oh no, what did I just tell it to do? I don't know, be responsible with it. And that ties back to why maybe this isn't just generally available yet, is because the safeguarding and the controls, and we know the networks are critical infrastructure, and we do not want to disrupt the flow because we're playing with some new toy, right? That's a good point. So notice in the manifest there's an auth section. I believe we could have OAuth 2 or bearer tokens or basic auth. And then based on the user that's auth, we say, they can only have redax. They can only invoke the get methods, not the posts or the deletes. So I think we're coming up on time. Any final thoughts or anything?
I wanted to add 2 more things. One is just to confirm that everything you've seen today is public data through Cisco sandboxes. First, nothing was live networking that we touched or altered. The second thing is when it comes to prompt engineering, that was a great example of how this can go wrong easily. Be aware as your teams are exploring it that there are so many things that y'all need to make sure you do. And these innovations are so nascent. There aren't people that are standing up saying, I know everything about this. Everybody is learning. And we encourage y'all to learn on your own and tell us what you learn as well. So engage with John on social, teach him, he'll teach you. We as a community can actually build things together.
Yeah, thank you. And I guess my parting thought is, what excites me the most is not what I've done with this. It's not. It's what you will do with this and your prompts and your expertise. Honestly, as the inventor, I only see the trees. I don't see the forest. On that side of the fence as users, I'm going to ask it this. I'm going to try that. Can it do this? When it gets into your hands, that's when the excitement and magic is going to happen. So this has been the highlight of my career, being here today with you. Thank you so much. Sorry, stay here for 1 second. We're going to get a picture with the crowd. So hands up, everybody say AI. AI. Oh yeah, and look under your chair. Somebody wins something. Look under your chairs, please.